One of the unspoken but very important players of this eclipse season, the dark moon, also known as Lilith. I personally prefer the dark moon because there's more than one dark mother, more than one shadow mother. So I call it the dark moon to give reverence to all the dark mothers and not just the one. Not that, it is. It just is. Nothing against Lilith. And also, moving on though. Okay, so the reason that it's kind of like an unspoken player in this eclipse season is because we have a lot moving and changing, and there's already so much going on. There's a Mercury retrograde, there's a Venus retrograde. We're in eclipses that are ruled by themselves. With the way that the transits are happening, they're both ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Cancer, so that is ruled by the moon, which means the eclipses are ruling over themselves. Okay, so there's already a lot. We already have a lot of just like transformative energy, plus the equinoxes in this season as well. The dark moon switches over into Scorpio on the 27th. 2 days before we go into the Aries eclipse. Now, unspoken because, first of all, Scorpio and the secrets, right? Okay, sneaky little Scorpios. Me too. Also, sneaky, spooky little Scorpios. Shout out to you. In our previous eclipse season, the dark moon was conjunct with Mercury in Libra, where the eclipse was happening on October 2nd. This Venus retrograde that's happening over this eclipse season, this is one of the moments when I'm studying our astrological transits and I look up to the sky and I ask, who orchestrated this? Because Venus goes direct right before the full moon in Libra, which will be illuminating. That's April 13th, I think? Yes, the 13th. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendars up here. Yeah. So it goes direct on the full moon, like right before the moon is full, and then the moon will go exact into fullness, and Venus will have been direct for, I think it's like 6 to 12 hours. I don't know. It's like a while, but not a full day, I don't think. I'll have to double check the details, okay? So don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Venus goes direct before the moon's full. So the moon goes full, and it's the Libra moon, and that's the moon where we had an eclipse in Libra on October 2nd with the dark moon. Okay, so rolling back to the dark moon topics then. Scorpio, this is not Scorpio's season. We're not around. We just passed over Aquarius season. Like, we're not gonna touch on Scorpio energy for a while. So there's part of the unspokenness to it. It's gonna be in the darkness. It's gonna be in the undercurrents of things. And the way that I like to talk about the hierarchy of the underworld, which is Pluto's domain, and kind of how it relates to what's going on with Scorpio, like where Pluto is right now, like the Scorpio energy. We have the underworld here, right? Capricorn, where Pluto just was, is above the underworld. It's the systems that have been built on the earth up here by the humans. It's literally like the process of how our bones grow through generations, which is crazy to me. And that's also the system. So it's like how time shapeshifts also. Again, another crazy concept. Okay, so that's Capricorn. Then we have Aquarius up above that, both ruled by Saturn, and Aquarius is going to be how the winds change the society. Also, the winds that carry the clouds that bring the rain, which like how the natural disasters can change society, or how that strikes the people and how that changes the things that happen in our world. Take 2020, for example. Actually, that's a really great example. Interesting correlation. Okay, so that's how I like to explain the hierarchy. There's Aquarius up here, Capricorn here, the underworld of Pluto is down here, all right? But Pluto right now is up in Aquarius. It's up in a high point. And then the dark moon, so if this is the underworld, the dark moon is here. It's underneath even more fundamentally than Pluto. It's the mothers that we've forgotten their names and they don't talk to us, but they're still around. They're here. They birthed the underworld, at least in my system of personal belief. I don't actually know if there's any astrological stories to back that one up, but that's how I've learned about the hierarchy in my own practice. So that undercurrent of Dark Mother is now going to be ruled when this switches over in this eclipse season. That's now going to be ruled by that underworld, which is above the dark moon. So the underworld is now ruling over the dark moon. And the underworld right now is partially ruled by what's going on with the primordial spirit in the sky that's changing society. And hierarchies, there's power in both directions. This is kind of a lesson of every single placement I've talked about: Aquarius, Capricorn, Pluto, Scorpio, and the dark moon. Like, doesn't matter if you are the person who is over another person, or if there's a spirit who is like thousands of years old and you're just tiny little you who's been here for however long. Crazy to me that that's a thing, and also still a thing. There's power in both directions. You have power that the gods don't. The gods have power that you don't. The Aquarius placement has power that the Dark Mother doesn't have, but the Dark Mother has power that Aquarius Pluto doesn't have, right? Okay, so even though there's a hierarchy and there's a structure, thank you, Saturn, and the pattern, that's true, there still has to be cohesiveness between the way that things are working. So if we roll it back again, let's go back and talk about the October 2nd eclipse that was in Libra one more time. Probably one more time. That eclipse bound us up in the birth of some sort of new justice of the mother. We still had to walk through the darkness for like the final months of 2024 into 2025. We were still walking in Libra darkness, in Venus darkness, and in the Dark Mother darkness. We were still in the shadows. So the fact that we have the dark moon moving over into Scorpio, and when the dark moon transits a sign, it's about every 9 months, which means that there's a birth every time that it transits. Shout out to the dark mothers, okay? So we're gonna have a dark mother birth the 27th when it switches over, 27th of March, and then Venus, which rules over where Libra is with the full moon on April 13th, is gonna go direct right before the full moon. So we're birthing something in the darkness on that 27th date, right before we get to this new moon eclipse in Aries, and then that birth is gonna influence the new moon eclipse in Aries, and then the full moon from the new moon in Aries is gonna be the one that's in April, right when Venus goes direct. So there's going to be this like crazy big illumination in the middle of April 13th, during that full moon, where we get to see what did we really mature into and what did we birth that maybe no one else can see? Or if other people can see it, it's like the secrets for me, you know, what did I birth in that dark mother energy? And the justice of mother, going back to that new moon solar eclipse that happened October 2nd again. I knew I was going to talk about it again. That's why I was like, maybe one more time. Anyways, if you go back to that and if you look at kind of the themes, I know what I did on that day. You want to know what I did on that day? I sat and I cried about a whole bunch of stuff for a long time. And then I called in the discreetness, the new energy for me. Interesting. So clock it how you need to for yourself, track it how you need to for yourself. That was just my story of what I needed to sit in at the time. So, you know, valid for me. And also look at what you got going on if you want to. Also looking at your Libra, your Venus, your 7th house. You could also look at your Taurus and your 2nd house as well. Gonna be a birth in this upcoming, what is that, like a week from now ish, a little over a week of me filming this, but still. And then we'll go into the dark moon in Scorpio and we'll have, listen, as someone who lived on both their Pluto line and their dark moon line for many years, this energy of the dark moon in Scorpio is just be ready to watch your back, all right? It doesn't mean you're going to be under attack, but it's ruthless. It's a ruthless energy. And you've been forewarned as someone who's lived on those energies and is also very Scorpio oriented. So that's what I have for you. Probably I'll have more at another time about that one. This is not to scare you. This is just, you know, I don't know how to say what I need to say. Ever have that happen? I feel like I've been gobstoppered. Okay. There's a lot of really dark secrets that we'll be learning about motherhood and women. Learning those is not always like the easiest or the most fun or the most delightful. It's not always cakes and rainbows. And this transit of the dark moon in Scorpio is going to remind us that there's a lot of power of woman, motherhood, feminine energies that costs a lot. So there you go. That's what I have to say about it. So prepare as you need to. Again, not to scare you, just like for people who are about that, okay, go be about it. And not everybody is about it. So just be prepared to, again, watch your back. That's that. All right. So the undercurrents, the like secret player of the eclipse season, the dark moon. Interesting. Yeah, the dark mothers are doing some schemy stuff this year, reminding us we're not so tough, but also that we're like way more powerful than we think that we are. So hopefully, I don't know how that's going to help for you in your eclipse season, but hopefully it helps somehow. I know it's been helping me to remind myself of the mother's practice and like the dark mothers. So gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew as you need to. That's true. Enjoy your eclipse season and our secret underworld dark moon that's about to be. That's it for now. And next time you'll hear from me. I'll talk to you then.